This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so I wanted to say hello to everybody and thank you for coming. I also wanted to just say quickly a couple quick little ground rules that I'll go by. I know with everything going on, it's been kind of crazy between the COVID and now everything that's going, all these protests. And I always keep the protests separate from the looting and rioting because they're two totally different things. But if you guys do want to speak about it, I have no problem with you guys speaking about it. But I do ask that you guys each respect each other's opinions. We don't. Yeah, I know a lot of people have different opinions on it, and that's fine. But I just don't want it to become an argument in here. All right, but we could all talk about it if you want, because it has been. I know it's causing stress for a lot of people in a lot of areas. So, but that's all up to you guys. Kelly, since you were the first one here, I'm gonna have you introduce yourself. Give us a little minute or where you're from, when did you get diagnosed, and where you have sarcoidosis.
Okay. So I was just recently diagnosed at the end of January, and because of COVID, they had to delay my treatment. So I just started medication on Saturday. So I am very, very new to this.
And where are you from? I'm sorry.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what kind of treatment are you on?
They started with prednisone, and then this week I start methotrexate.
Okay.
Hey, at least you don't have to stay on steroids for a long time.
Right. That's the hope.
Yeah, it's always fine. Yeah.
Yep.
Kathleen, are you going to introduce yourself today or no? Sure. Okay, go ahead.
I'm allowed to, thanks. Hi, I'm Kathleen. I'm part of Sarcoidosis Long Island with Frank. I've also been the ambassador with most of you. Had sarcoidosis definitively diagnosed from a lung biopsy 11 years ago. At this point, it's throughout my body, so neurological, heart, pancreas evidently, even though we won't do that. Skin. The only place it's not right now is, well, I hadn't thought about the pancreas, so I have to delete that now. So eyes and kidneys. So I'm thinking since it's pretty much everywhere else, it's probably there. But we're not going to find that out until there's a problem. So, hi, everybody.
Okay. Wendy, you around? Your camera's off now. Oh, there you are.
Hi, my name is Wendy. I'm from Rochester, New York. I have neurosarcoid and pulmonary sarcoid, and I just got off Cellcept. I was on Cellcept and prednisone. I'm still on prednisone, but I'm down to 15 milligrams. And I'm going to be hopefully starting another treatment of infusions next month with a rheumatologist. But Frank, remind me, I have to ask a question about something. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. All right, Regina.
Oh, my name is Regina. I am been diagnosed since 1994. I have been through all the different types of therapies that's out there, and now I am on Remicade. I have not been on it for a year yet, and let me tell you what, it is my drug of choice.
I'm glad it's working. All right, I'm gonna
Me
go to Dan. Yeah, right. Dan, go ahead.
My name is Dan. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm kind of stuck in limbo between finding out if I have lymphoma or if I have sarcoidosis. But I believe it's sarcoid based on the biopsy so far. I have it in my liver, kidneys, spleen, and lymph node. And right now I'm just doing a lot of like vitamins and trying to do some natural things while I can. A couple spots on my lungs, but hopefully my CT scan in a couple days shows good. So that's my story.
So welcome aboard. And Mary, last but not least.
Hi, I'm Mary. I live in Maryland and I have mostly cardiac sarcoidosis, but I also have it in lungs and spleen and lymph nodes and, you know, a bunch of different little places. But the heart is where I'm mostly affected. And I'm currently, I would say that my drug that I'm on, whether it's by choice, is methotrexate. I've done a bunch of the other ones, but that's where I'm at right now. I also work in advocacy for rare diseases, so whenever anyone is ready to go there, let me know.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For Mary and Dan, you guys say your sarcoid is in your spleen. How can you feel it?
I can't, but they told me when I was first diagnosed that it was in my spleen.
So it's
They
not
told
painful or anything?
they told me my primary location is actually the spleen, which is rare, and the pain wraps around the side of my back. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Wendy, I know you had a question also.
Yes, my
You lost her
question
again.
is, that I did get a hold of the specialist in Albany. I'm having an issue though. My immunologist said he doesn't want to work with anybody else except my pulmonary doctor. I don't understand why he's doing this. It's just like one disappointment after another.
When you first off, you're gonna have a teleconference with him, right? With your sarcoidosis specialist.
That wasn't said. They wanted me to actually come in for 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
So
That's actually better if you can get there. The face visit is much better than a teleconference call. And I know Dr. Judson is very, very good. He's he's one of the top in the world. That's
Frank, I would love to go, but why is my immunologist doing this?
Well, I say go see the Judson and then let Judson call him, and then do it that way. Because Judson's is going to be it's going to end up being your pulmonologist too, most likely. Unless he still wants you to have somebody that's close by, but he's going to be your main doctor. So, and if your what is that called? Immunologist doesn't want to work with him, he'll find you another one. I'm telling you, he knows a lot of doctors.
Thank you.
He referred a couple of doctors for me here before Morgenthau actually did. So yeah, and plus I've talked to him at conferences. So yeah, I really trust him.
But I talked to my counselor, like we were trying to figure out why he is doing this, though. It's like
he doesn't want another doctor telling him what to do, most likely. And they won't say that, of course, but that's mainly the reason.
Thank you so much. So you can.
No problem. Yeah. So I would just keep on going on the course with seeing Dr. Judson. When is your appointment? Do you know yet?
I don't have an appointment with him. That's what I was going to get to next.
Okay.
So my new PCP called my doctor, and he just said to me, I am not working with anybody else. I want to work with Dr. Baji. Dr. Baji and I are good friends, my pulmonary doctor. And I do love Dr. Baji because he's the one that found my sarcoid. His interns, his students.
Yeah. I just think that's wrong that he's telling you. But even if that does come out, and you keep Dr. Baji anyway, Dr. Baji and him can discuss whatever is going on. So,
And you know
can
what,
work around
Dr. Baji told me a month ago that he was fine with that.
that. Yeah,
So it's
so
Dr. Samkoff.
yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
it. No problem. Anybody else have some quick questions at all today? I know it's going to be it's a small group here, so it's kind of cool. I did want to, how is everybody dealing with everything that is going on? That's my question for everybody today. I mean, I know it's very stressful. People are picking sides and all this other stuff. If you say one thing wrong, and say one thing wrong, and everybody's on your back and blah 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 blah. But I know I'm very political, and that's just who I am. I just grew up that way. My parents were, but I just think that if you have different sides, you should be able to listen to both sides, because they have, to me, you always learn from somebody. Like I know people who refuse to watch CNN or refuses to watch Fox. I watch them both. Doesn't mean I agree with both of them, but I watch it to find out what everybody's thinking, so I can actually make an informed decision for myself. I'm just so tired of people trying to make decisions for you. But that's just my personal opinion on it. Has anybody been involved in any of the protests or anything, or just staying away?
I've only been watching it. I am not getting in nobody's crowd. Half the people are not wearing masks. They're not taking care of themselves. I'm sorry. No, that's my only beef.
I'm not
People
getting
can protest. They can do what they want because they have freedom of speech. That's their right. Yep. Except for they don't have the right to loot and destroy property. Yeah. I disagree with all that.
Yeah.
But my other issue is that, are you looking over across the country where all those big gobs of people are all smashed together? And I'm like, oh my gosh, COVID will never leave.
Exactly. I'm worried about that.
Yeah, it's like I'm so worried about everybody with its COVID.
I know. We're finally in we're in phase 1 over here for on Long Island. We're getting close to phase 2, starting up soon. And yeah, you guys just went up. Wendy, you guys just went to phase 2 today, right? Yeah.
And you know what? The traffic was so bad that it shook my house this morning, woke me up.
Yeah. So I hope we don't go back. I mean, that's the only thing that
really pollution again. Phase 2.
I know. I'm more worried about with these big groups is, are we going to end up going back to phase 1 or 0 at this point? Long Island, actually, we've been really good on the fact that we haven't had any big groups protesting. Yes, what was it? Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. We took a drive just so I could get out of the house. I didn't get out of the car, but I still got out of the house. And I saw right in my same town I'm in, there was a protest, but there was maybe 15, 20 people, and they were actually going 6 feet apart, which was great. I was like, wow, thank you. I just wanted to stop and say thank you, but I didn't. But yeah, around here, I mean, the big cities, I'm looking at New York right now, and I'm like, they're never going to open up if they keep on going like this. I don't see how you can beat it, But, I understand why they're protesting, but at least do it safe. That's my biggest thing, but yeah.
Frank, I'm so afraid when they're going to open up 3, when the gyms open. That's when I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I actually ordered my own razor for my hair to cut it myself. I'm like, frig this. I'm not dealing with it. I just don't. I mean, I'm so afraid of going out. I really am. It scares me.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about anybody else. Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Okay. How are you guys?
Doing
Good.
well.
This is a guy that started
Nice small group today, so
groups
I just,
like
you
rare
know,
diseases. It's so cool.
That's nice.
yeah.
Small
Yeah,
groups
so
are
yeah.
good.
So anybody else had any questions or anything they wanted to speak about today? It's kind of, you know,
Does anyone
today's
else
a
with pain in
busy
their
day.
kidneys or back? Does anyone else have back pain other than me, other than the spleen? I get it in the kidneys and other places too.
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
it.
I get it in my kidneys.
I would say like mid to lower back.
Yeah. Do you ice it or how do you take care of it?
I do ice it occasionally, but sometimes I switch it up and then take like a hot bath.
Yeah. Okay.
But it does. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I was
Working.
Yeah. I actually was asking I have a pain doctor, and he was like ice, then heat, and do it that way.
Patient.
So it's like 15 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I've done
heat.
that. I've also
So,
tried Epsom salt baths. For me, that helps a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. The Epsom salt.
Mm-hmm. That's what my
Yeah.
doctor said. The Epsom
Yeah, I get
salt
them also
for
because of my
pain.
kidney. Yeah. I get the pain by my kidneys area also. Yeah. That's one of the areas that for me that wasn't actually biopsied, but my doctor was like, "Yeah, I have it there." He did it from my very first PET scan. It actually showed up. But I don't think I'm gonna be doing any PET scans anytime soon anymore. I think I'm at the point now, like where Kathleen is. It's like I don't need to know unless it's bothering me. Why bother?
Because what's going to change? That's
Yeah,
the thing.
exactly.
You know, that is the question. You asked what's the question? Why is this spread?
Because once it
it's
hits
in
the
your
lymph
lymph
nodes,
node
it
system.
travels.
Because what?
Yeah.
How does it
Once it hits
spread?
the
Is it bacteria? I
lymph
don't.
nodes, it's the cells. Yes, the cells travel through the lymph nodes, and the lymph nodes are in all parts of your body. So once it gets into the lymph nodes, it gets into the bloodstream, and it gets into the other lymph nodes, and so forth, and so on, and so on.
And,
And you also got to remember that. Go ahead. Who was talking? Somebody was saying something.
I was, but go ahead.
I was just saying that you got to remember they're overactive. Basically, it's overactive white cells, blood cells is basically what it is. So anywhere that you get a cold, fever, or something's wrong with your kidneys, your white blood cells go to fight stuff, and that's
Any stress that your body experiences, whether it's even emotional stress or an injury or surgery for something totally unrelated to sarcoidosis. So any stress that your body experiences, and it could be like a cold, it could be anything, your body's is responding, and our bodies are hyper responding. And so that's why it can kind of go anywhere. And my experiences, and it's ridiculous to say, is to reduce as much stress as possible. But that also means like making sure you're getting enough sleep, making sure you're eating right, making sure you're not, doing anything to your body to make your body freak out and go, what's happening? So
I feel like that happens to me when I go on drugs that they give me for the sarcoid.
Well, the drugs are giving a shock to your body.
Yeah,
it really is.
Right. So that's why they usually like to monitor you, but it's also your particular body's reaction to that. How are you responding to that? That's, one of the reasons for any of the new people with like certain things like prednisone, you don't want to just stop at cold turkey. You need to slowly adjust your medications, because the more stress you put on your body in any form, the more that your body's response is going to be highlighted or inflamed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I would
I
actually
mean,
wanted to tell you that
Frank, you had other problems before you had sarcoid. You had leukemia, right?
childhood leukemia, yes.
Yeah.
I had
So
childhood
your
problems from 5 to 9, 10, somewhere in that range.
your body was like under so much stress.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, I've gone through a couple of things here and there that have no relation to sarcoidosis, and then some that do. But yeah,
Wouldn't that be why you ended up having sarcoid? Was the stress that you went through? And
well, here's the thing: you have to. I mean, the way we don't know how sarcoid starts, but you have to have some sort of gene because otherwise everybody would get it. Anybody who was in contact with the heavy dust or any kind of problem the sarcoidosis would show up, which it doesn't for everybody. Like everyone at 9/11 did get sarcoidosis. If it did, they would have if it's not a gene. So we have to have some sort of gene in our body. Which one? We don't know. Which I don't understand. Honestly, you would think by now they could figure out what gene it is. But no.
well, it's interesting because my father had when he was a child had meningitis, and it was a miracle that he survived it. And they're saying that some forms of neurosarcoid, you get meningitis in your brain. So I was like, I was thinking to myself, wow. Like, I
Yeah,
wonder
I
if,
mean,
like, when he was diagnosed
yeah,
with
they don't know
that.
if it's hereditary. But if it is gene related, you would think it would be hereditary. But like I said, they just don't know. They just don't have enough information on this disease. Period. Speaking about that, actually, you'll be we'll be seeing a survey coming out, and I'm going to make sure that everybody gets it. I really want you guys to fill it out. There's eight. Let's see. No, six patients and 2 doctors were doing a research on how COVID is affecting sarcoidosis. One of the doctors was Dr. Sakatu, who was in here that day. She was the doctor that Rodney brought in. Yeah, she's a really good doctor.
Amazing.
So Rodney and myself, and well, there's 2 people from New York, Patricia and myself, Patricia Brooks Hart and myself. Then there's Rodney from Louisiana and a lady named Melanie. And then there's 2 people from UK. They picked those three areas because they're 3 really hit areas for COVID. So they wanted to pick some areas that actually had a lot of people who had it, and we did a focus group, and then with like 6 or 7 people from each area, and then now we're working on all that information from the focus group and making a survey. We it's going to be a little bit comprehensive, but there's a reason why. There's a lot of information and data that Dr. Sakatu and 2 researchers are working on with that data to try to see how if it affected our body any differently than other people. That's one of the reasons, and it also goes into the mental aspects, not just the physical. It goes into the mental aspects. So God forbid, but if there's any other problems, we can actually do this. It might help us out for later on. I will let you guys know. We're actually almost done with the survey. They just have
Is
to.
it Dr. Kidd in the
I
UK
think we have
doing it?
no. There's no other doctors in UK. Oh, actually, no. There's a doctor researcher. Her name is Mary Ann. She's doing it with Dr. Sakatu. Sakatu is actually like the head, and then there's 2 researchers, and then there's 6 patients that are just set. We're actually setting up the survey. We have a very little bit left that we're going to do tomorrow, Friday, and then that should be coming out within a week or 2 weeks. And then once we get that information, then we're going to go over that information and send out everybody, let everybody know what the results are, and hopefully it'll help in finding out some other things that the researchers are looking at too. So I think this is going to be really, really good to help everybody. I mean, like I said, some of it is as easy as are you doing your grocery shopping yourselves? They want to find out like living patterns. They want to find out mental patterns as well as physical patterns. Hopefully, like what Dr. Sakatu was saying is that it's going to be in a medical research. So that's A, but B is also that she is working with the government to A, get some funding, and B, the funding is the part I was worried about. But B is also to get them ready. God forbid anything like this happens again. So it won't just help us; it'll help a lot of other people in the long run. So that's just something that I did want to let you guys know. That's why I've been pretty quiet about doing any other things because this thing has been taking up a lot of my time it's over 2 months now that we've been working on this. So it's been taking up a lot of the time. We usually, we're sitting like in a conference call like this. Today we were in it for 3 hours. It's like, hey. And we'll have 3 this week. We had 3 last week, each time 3 hours. So much fun, especially. So, but we're working on it. I did want to let you guys know about that. I won't be putting.
I have a question for you. Have we set up a UK sarcoidosis group yet?
Yes.
I actually talked to the 2 that are in charge. Are actually the one is I don't know if vice president or on the board, and the other one used to be on the board, but he used to be the president. He just stepped down. So yes, they do want to be involved in making one because I keep on telling them, "Oh, I'm having a meeting today." I'm like, "Yeah, it's 7 o'clock our time. That's 12 o'clock their time."
Yeah.
Well, like,
listen,
no.
Remember that, hon?
we could get a race going here because it looks like we got a green light with the male breast cancer guys in the UK. So that's exactly, and we're partnering with one of the universities there because it also involves a researcher.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, the guy Mike, he was the president. He stepped back. He's into a lot of computer work. He does cybersecurity. That's what he does. Yeah, but he said it was just. He said right now it's actually getting more busy because of everybody's working from their computers. So he's been a lot. So he had to step down from Sarcoidosis UK. But I talked to Jackie, and she said that she's really interested in it. I'm gonna set her up actually on Friday. I told her I'd get set it up with you.
Fantastic.
Okay.
I love
Yeah.
Jackie.
Now I can deputize you, and I can rely on you, Mr. Rivera. Thank you.
My thing is, I'd love for them to join us, but the time difference is just too much.
I know.
It's just too
I know.
much. 5 hours. How are we going to cut that? I mean, it's great when people aren't working like this or working from home, but once everything's starting to kick on. Hi, Debbie.
How you doing, everyone?
All right, how are you?
Good.
So, since you just came in, you can just say hi to everybody and give us a little bit of, synopsis of. You're from Long Island, so but other than that, like, when do you got diagnosed? Where do you have it?
Have it in my lungs, 2015. The results of 9/11. That's what they were telling me. So it's in my lungs area.
Okay. How are you feeling?
Well, the prednisone got me speeding as always. That's all I can say. But how's everyone doing
Yeah.
tonight? I'm sorry I'm late.
Did you get the moon face yet?
Oh yes, the moon face apple pie.
I hate it.
Me
Now it's, you know,
too.
it stinks. You know, it stinks. Now is not the time to be like racing around with the steroids because you're home. You're stuck home. You can't.
Yes,
You can't
yes.
expend that energy that you have from the steroids.
But I'm
But
so happy to be with this group because someone else know what I'm going through. It's such a pleasure. Y'all don't even understand.
I
I'm
understand,
glad.
believe me.
Yeah, I'm just glad that, you know, everybody's able to make it. We were just saying that really quickly, we're going to be there's going to be a survey out, Debbie, just so you know, coming soon. It's like I said, told everybody, it's a little bit comprehensive, but the easy questions, a lot of them are yes and no or pull down questions, and not like write an essay or anything like that. But it's going to help out the sarcoidosis community now and for future reference. So I will let everybody know, and I'm going to harp on everybody to take this survey because the more people that take it, the more information they get and we get. And they, you know, usually if you get only 100 people answering this thing, you really don't have a full survey. When you know, so we really need to get as many people as we can from all over, not just like, because we are working with people from Europe, we're working for people, like I said, in New York, some people in Louisiana. So we really need everybody from all over, because we need to find out what's different from each, not just each person, like how they get sarcoidosis different, but also from each area, how, you know, because like I don't know what the laws are in, you know, like Arizona, right, Rick? And I don't, you know, vice versa. Like UK, the one thing I've learned, everything is very universal. Everything. They don't have whatever is in London is in Scotland, and they're all the same. It's not like the United States where every state is different. It's everything is the same, which actually is kind of cool. You don't have to worry about it. But so anybody else have anything they want to talk about tonight?
Have any of you ever heard of sarcoid turning into cancer? I heard a rumor reading the other day. I don't know if that's true or not.
I've never
I haven't
actually heard. I haven't heard it.
You haven't heard it.
What would I put it by it? You got to figure that what happens, sarcoidosis works on your body and makes it weak. So yeah, you can't, you know, when your body's weak, you could get anything, you know? So in that respect, I could see it that way. I don't specifically know of it. Kathleen or Mary, have you guys, or Regina?
No, and I would say because Frank knows so many people that I use him all the time for a great resource for anything to do with sarcoidosis, and also for the other people that have it. He, you know, wherever I go and what I do, if you say Frank, everybody knows him. So the fact that Frank is saying he hasn't heard it would make me feel a little bit reassured, because he really knows so many people.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
My doctor said
What was that,
that it
Regina?
doesn't, and he said, but the sarcoid drugs could cause you to have cancer.
I
Drugs,
haven't
maybe.
heard it either, but they diagnosed me with non-Hodgkin's prior to diagnosing me with sarcoid because they wasn't sure. So it does look similar to cancer, but it isn't.
Yeah. That's where I'm at right
I was
now.
diagnosed with
If you look at the side effects from Cellcept, it says can cause cancer. If you look at this other side effects from some of the other ones, they said could cause cancer.
But that's
Yeah.
on the medication,
well,
right?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even
And the thing about the medications,
anxiety
yeah.
medicine causes anxiety. So I mean, it's crazy how these medicines work, isn't it?
Yeah. And the thing with the medicines, they always have to put, even if there's a 0.0001%, they got to put it on there. Because if somebody does get that, they could get sued. So they have to put it up there. But yeah, I was also misdiagnosed like Regina was, but unfortunately, then for me, it actually went way overboard. 2004, I was actually misdiagnosed with lung cancer. But they didn't even, they even took a biopsy and still told me I had lung cancer. And I went through 4 years of chemo and radiation for nothing, for nothing. Hence, probably why I have sarcoidosis everywhere else, because it lowered my body, and of course my white blood cells are already overactive, and vice versa. So that's how. By the time I was diagnosed, I already had it in 75% of my body, and that was by the time I was diagnosed, and that was 9 years ago.
Well, Frank,
9 years ago.
thank you for doing all that you do for sarcoid. If I get a firm diagnosis, I'm gonna beat the pavement and do the same. So.
Yeah, okay, great. Anytime anybody needs help, whether it's advocate help, which there's a couple of us, Mary, Regina, Kathleen, all advocates as well as myself. Like Kathleen said, we work together for Sarcoidosis Long Island. But just because it says Long Island doesn't mean it's just Long Island. Believe me, I've helped people in Australia. So yeah, that's what we're here for. I don't want people to ever feel like I did. First, get misdiagnosed, and second, not to be able to find anybody to talk about it. So I don't want that to happen, and that's my goal in life, is make sure that other people don't have to ever go through something like that and feel alone. I mean, it's terrible. Like Debbie said, and Wendy has said, that when they didn't have anybody, they didn't know anybody, that makes it worse. I know that for a fact, that I went through it before I made my organization, which it was a year after I was diagnosed, I actually made the organization. And there was only, FSR was there, but they only had 3 employees. So they knew about as much as I did when I first started. They really didn't have much. So 2 people on their board actually have sarcoidosis. There's 2 of them, right? Kathleen, that have it? Yeah, it's 2 people on the board that have it. But other than that, none of them actually, now they have 9 employees, none of the employees have it. So a lot of times they come running to us, asking us for information on it.
What kind of progress do you think is being made and steps toward finding causes aside from just genes and treatment, other than prednisone and all these very harsh medicines?
I could tell you a very quick story, is that 8 years ago, when I first started this organization, Kathleen and I were sitting last year, in at Hofstra, the university, and it was all about clinical trials. And she looked up for sarcoidosis, how many clinical trials? How many were there, Kathleen? Do you remember?
It was over 250 of them.
When I looked 8 years ago, there was 1. So that alone tells you how much they're learning. They've learned more in 8 years, not just because of me, but because of everybody really. 9/11 really got the government involved in sarcoidosis, because a lot, everybody always thinks of 9/11. You want to help the people from 9/11. But also 8 years ago, the sarcoidosis from the NIH, which is the National Institute of Health, who gives out money, grants, loans, whatever, they were giving sarcoidosis nothing, not 1 penny 8 years ago. Last year, they got $1 million from NIH, FSR did. So they're off out in Europe. There are a lot of clinical trials out in Europe that are they actually have an animal model for the first time. 2 years ago? 2 years ago, right? It was the first time they ever actually had an animal model. And you're talking about a disease from the 1800s. So, but it's hard to have an animal model when you don't know the cause. So they actually had to basically inject it into them, force it into to an animal. So that made it a little tough. It's hard to have an animal model when you can't. So but they do now. They've been working on it. They've had a couple of good trials. There's like 2 drugs in Europe that are in the second phase of trial. Yeah, which is not bad. It's better than what we have here. We don't have any. For a lot of the trials here are basically right now or first phase. I don't think I know of a second phase in the United States yet that actually passed through the first. It's so hard. That's a problem. It's so hard to pass phases when you're doing a clinical trial. Clinical trial can take anywhere from 7 to 10 years, and that's saying nice. Except for like what they're doing now for the for COVID, they fast track it. And then you also have to feel like how many people actually have sarcoidosis. Is it a pharmaceutical company is only going to do it if it's beneficial, if they're going to make money on it. So that's why it's kind of hard. But other good, Mary.
Another positive thing to think about is over the past, I think it's maybe 7 years, the increase in the overall funding in research for all rare diseases has really moved up. So has the legislation for all rare diseases. So in some ways, what helps one disease can possibly help another rare disease. So by promoting all of these different rare disease research, hopefully some of it will, go sideways and help sarcoidosis. So, and there's been a huge increase in studies and funding in research going on for many rare diseases. So for me, I find that as positive for sarcoidosis, because you never know if all of a sudden they find a cure for some disease and they say, hey, you know what, the methodology or however this works, this could also work for some other diseases. Maybe we could try that. So in some ways it is positive, as for that.
Yeah, and then think about like all the drugs that they give us now. Those drugs weren't approved for sarcoidosis. They were approved for other things. Methotrexate, Remicade. You could go through every one of them. It's been the only thing that is approved for sarcoidosis are 2 drugs, and that is prednisone and Actar gel. That's it. Every other medicine that we use was approved for something else, and they found out that it at least helps with the relieve your symptoms. It won't cure you, but at least you could live on a better. So without all those, without all those other things, when they about 8 to 10 years ago, they weren't using those drugs for sarcoidosis. You could ask. We know a lot of people who've had sarcoidosis for 30, 40 years, and all they were on were prednisone. That was it, right? Regina, you've been on. She knows. So there's a lot new. Remicade is really new. It's only within the last 3 to 4 years that it was been approved.
Now they're trying to send people from Remicade to Inflectra.
Yeah, Inflectra, and
it's
there's IVIG. Yeah, Humira is being used for it, for sarcoidosis, and I see people who love it. So yeah, there's a lot more being done. Would I like more? Yeah, of course, we all would. We would love a cure, but in the retrospect, from when I could tell you, like Mary works for RDLA. And it's and Every Life Foundation. They're both sister companies. Do they call them, or what do they call them? I don't even know.
RDLA is a program of the Every Life Foundation.
Okay.
It's hard to understand. They don't really clarify it very well. It took me years to figure out.
Because they get funded separately, don't they? Don't they get funded separately?
Yes. Because one of them can do policy and the other one cannot. So they have to be 2 separate companies, and in that sense. So the program within Every Life. So
8 years ago, I went to
legislative associate. organization is more for the policy and legislation, but the Every Life has other programs like resources for funding and other programs about teaching people how to be advocates, which actually kind of crosses both lines. So
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
went to 8 years ago. I went. Yeah. 8 years ago, I went to a they had RDLA has a award ceremony, and 8 years ago I went to the award ceremony, and the head at the time, Emil, he was the head. He was he's actually the founder of Every Life. He actually came up to me, and he it was during a banquet part of it, and he came up to me and he says, "You're from I heard you're representing sarcoidosis." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You're the very first person that has come here for sarcoidosis." And I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, and he was the one who told me about how we were getting no money. He's a doctor, so he also knows that part of it. And he was like, "Yeah, you guys get not a penny." He goes, "You're the least funded of all rare diseases." And he helped me a lot. He taught me a lot. I really called him a lot to help with funding. And that's just fun because I actually sat in a meeting with NIH, with the head of NIH, to try to figure out how the hell do we get money. They kept on telling me, "Well, you need an animal model." How do you get an animal model? If they can't figure out a cause, how are they going to get an animal model? So yeah, that, and also like what Mary is saying, a lot of these rare diseases piggyback. So if like we do a lot of things with rare diseases because like Orphan Drug Act got passed. That helped all of us. That helped every rare disease. Every drug that we use now is an orphan drug. Everything that we use now is what we consider an orphan drug. Orphan drug is very, very easy. Is that it's used for something else. It was approved for something else, and now they orphan it to basically to another after a clinical trial. And all these drugs that we use now pretty much orphan drugs because like I said, we only have 2 drugs, and we can't stay on prednisone. That itself will kill you. Go ahead, Mary Jane.
Hey, I just wanted to backtrack on something. We were talking about, I think we were talking about the cancer and different things like that Dan had asked me about. Well, recently, you guys know I've been doing my ancestry. I've been finding my family and stuff. So I had did my DNA. So here recently, I decided I wanted to do the health DNA. And I got my report back. So what my report told me is that, now this is crazy, but I can almost see some of this going on in my family and probably some of the reasons why I'm having some of the issues that I'm having. But listen to this. The genotype screening that they did, and they found this in my genes, cardiomyopathy, cystic fibrosis, familial hypercholesterolemia, whatever that is, hereditary breast ovarian cancer syndrome, hereditary hemochromatosis, Lynch syndrome, sickle cell anemia, and thrombophilia. Lynch syndrome and the cancer, Lynch syndrome is the possibility of some type of cancer. That's what Lynch syndrome is. And I went and looked up some of these. The hereditary hemochromatosis is blood clotting, and it means blood clotting. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the hell is wrong with me? I'm sorry. And then,
where did your
sarcoidosis on top of it?
right?
But that's in my genes, so it lets me kind of know what I've passed on and passed down to my kids. You know what I mean? So, but these are things I'm actually going to go and talk to my doctor about.
Yeah, I did a genome sequencing because one of the things that I do is actually I work with this company called Illumina.
That's who did it.
I actually went to San Diego to their place because I'm actually a spokesperson for them, a rare disease spokesperson for them, and they actually showed us. It's a campus. This place. They have campuses throughout the United States and throughout the world. Actually, they have one in China, one in Japan, India.
New York. This is from New York.
Yeah, they have a new one over here now too. San Diego is huge. They have 20 buildings, but they make the machines. Before they came around, it used to take a week for you to get a gene sequencing. Now they can do it within, I think it's 12 to 18 hours. They can get a gene sequencing now, and not just one person. They can do 48 at one time now. The machine can do 48 of them, and it's so wild to go in that place. And you're not allowed to take pictures.
Wouldn't it be kind of neat if they could find, Frank, wouldn't it be kind of neat if we could all get ours tested to see what we had in common?
That's one of the things I actually wish that FSR would promote, because that would help. I think if we did a gene sequencing, it would help a lot of people find out what gene is actually,
Regina, maybe you started the new thing for us.
If we all have,
Gosh.
if it is a gene, if it is a genetic disorder, we should all have that same genetic disorder. So I've been trying to push this forever. It's expensive. It's expensive to do a full genome sequencing. It is expensive.
Hey, how much did it cost you?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious?
How much did it cost
all
you?
the different things up here. I'm like, oh, what does
all? Regina, how much did yours cost?
Huh?
How much
did it cost?
My initial DNA was like $99, and because I had already did my initial DNA, I can upgrade for the health for $49.
Oh wow, that's not bad doing it that way.
Nope.
If you go to a genetic therapist, it can cost $1,000.
Oh, I'm
it
sure.
Can cost $1,000. And you get like 28 pages. You get, I mean, it's a book this thick. Go ahead, Kathleen.
Regina, what company was that?
Lumina.
So you look up Lumina and then go there?
Huh?
No. Where did you get who did you go through for the gene testing itself?
Ancestry.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Great.
that's the regular genetic testing. It's not the full. The full genome testing is, like I said, it's like 20. I have to look it up. I mean, it's this thick. It is this thick, full of paper.
Yeah, but just
and you have to get
few items on here is mind-boggling. I'm like, oh my gosh, how can they find all that in a gene? It's mind-boggling.
I think it's very interesting that you brought that up. I really wish they could just, I don't know, it's just like triggered. So I was like, why, a lot of things that could really, maybe that's something, Frank. If we can get ourselves all tested with
it will be if they
that's not expensive.
Like I said, no, that isn't. Yeah, but to really find out what gene it is, you would have to do a full genome sequencing, and like I said, that's over $1,000. I mean, well over $1,000. It costs.
But just to start,
just
to start.
Well,
go ahead, Mary, you were saying something?
I was going to ask, do you know anybody that's explored precision medicine with sarcoidosis? And precision medicine is a couple organizations are doing it where they really go into you individually intensely and try to figure out, based on your makeup and your disease and all the information, what would be the best treatment for you, which logically you hear me say that, you're thinking, well, don't they do that for everyone anyway? No, they don't.
That's another thing that's very expensive for them to go through to do. I do. Who actually she passed away, Andrea Timmons. She actually went to the NIH and did a full one-on-one evaluation. Problem is you need a lot of people to get, to actually find out what's going on, you need a lot of people. It's same thing like with clinical trials. If you do a clinical trial with 10 people, you're not getting anywhere. You need hundreds of people to join a clinical trial.
So Frank, what can we do to make a difference? How can we help you with your mission?
If you want to do something from home, very easy. Is look into the clinical trials. Sign up for them. The more people who sign up for clinical trials, the quicker the drug it takes for the drug to get to the next level. They need those results. Get Mary.
Another thing you can do is the registry.
Yep, that's what
I tried to do
the registry.
On FSR, they have a registry for patients. So getting any of the
Mm-hmm.
organizations that have a registry, getting your information in there is great, because when organizations and scientists and companies are looking to do a study, they'll contact this organization and this one saying, how many people you have in your registry? How good, how solid, how robust is your information? And if there's good information and enough people in it, they'll be like, oh, okay, we'll pick you. So getting everybody to do the registry and update it is really important. So that's another thing you can do, especially once you get your diagnosis.
Yeah.
I tried to get into the registry and I had a problem. It wouldn't accept my what I was doing, and I was just
All right.
If they can help you.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll give you the person's number. Angela is in charge of it. So I have to get her number. I forgot her number. But yeah, she's in charge of it. She can walk you through it.
You got to call her.
There's the Regina put up this on the chat. She put up the website for the registry. So if you need the website, registry is very important, because not only do they ask how many people, they'll actually call you, but from the results of the registry, say, hey, because FSR will contact you and say, hey, they're having a clinical trial. Do you want to be a part of it? Or they'll email you, hey, you want to be a part of this? That's one of the main problems we're having with our clinical trials, is not having enough people. So they lose their funding. If you don't have enough people, they lose funding.
I'm sorry, I gotta say goodbye because I gotta go talk to my daughter, but it was great to see you all, and see you next time, and be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Mary.
Yeah, so
Bye, Mary.
Bye, Mary.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, so those are the first two things you could do, is, like we were saying, is do the registry, look at the clinical trials online. It's clinicaltrials.gov, right? Right, Kathleen? Yeah, clinicaltrials.gov. See, once you have to do this after you get but you have to be diagnosed, of course, first. But once you get diagnosed, those are two easy things to do at home. It's just answering questions. When you really want to get into it, you can definitely. There's a lot of things you can do from home that people don't even realize. Like Kathleen, myself, Regina have gone and talked to government officials. You could do that from home. You don't have to do that. Like we happen to travel there and whatever. But
I did that. I spoke to my representative.
Yeah, you can do it on phone, emails. I can give you a letter. I can really give you a letter. We have startup letters and what to say. We have a lot of those things. We have that Stop Sarcoidosis that's on the that she put up. That stopsarcoidosis.org has a lot of information that you can how to get in touch with other people. But the more people we get involved, the easier for us, right, Regina and Kathleen? So a lot less we have to run around and do. Because it gets it gets tiring. We get beat.
Under clinicaltrials.gov, there's currently 215 for sarcoidosis. That does not mean it's all in the United States, but that's how many there are.
Yeah. So, and if you see on the clinicaltrials.gov and it's something that you think that you would qualify for, look into it, because sometimes they'll pay for your travel, or and then other times they'll work it out with your regular doctor to keep an eye on you. And but that's what Penn did. They actually went to your regular doctor, your regular pulmonologist. So yeah, so don't
Can
be
I say
totally
something?
swayed. Go for it.
I'm sorry. Well, one of the
Go for it.
things you want to really be careful of is when you're looking at a clinical trial is to make sure that you are, like, say, for instance, they say you need to be on prednisone for so long, and that you have to have been diagnosed within a certain period of time, because I've tried to get on clinical trials, and I guess because I've been diagnosed 25 years ago, for somebody like me, it would be really, really hard to get a clinical trial. So
Yeah, that's.
the
But
newer
if you
the
knew,
newer you are, the better off you got a chance at getting into a clinical trial.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I would say start off with that, and if you really get into it, don't be afraid to ask us. There's plenty of things that you can do. Like we all hold either a walk or some sort of benefit for sarcoidosis, FSR, Foundation of Sarcoidosis Research. Just so every penny helps them at this point, because FSR, which is I keep on talking about, that's that Stop Sarcoidosis group. What they do, they bridge the gap. What the government gives them,
Microphone on.
what the government gives you for a clinical trial, they'll try to give them the extra money that that person needs to finish that clinical trial. So the more money we could give them, the more money they can give towards research and to people who are trying to do research. And they're actually giving grants to brand new doctors to actually study sarcoidosis and become sarcoidosis specialists, because a lot of our sarcoidosis specialists are getting up in age. There's some that are still younger, like Culver isn't that old. He's not too bad, right, Regina? Culver is what?
That's true.
He's like in his
Like,
50s.
for instance, my Dr. Daniel Culver, he used to sit on the board of FSR, but he's no
Yeah.
longer on the board. But he's done several different types of clinical trials, and he really is an awesome doctor. He knows what he's doing.
What is he
Literally.
in? Is he in his 60s?
I don't know if he's that old yet,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure. I think well, I'll be 60 this year, so he's probably in his 50s. He's got to be.
Yeah, him and
If
Morgenthau are two of the younger ones, and that's not saying much if they're the younger ones. That like I'm trying to think. Judson probably in his 60s. Yeah, there's a lot of them that are getting up there in the age. In New York, actually, though, there's a couple of like NYU, when we had the conference there. NYU had a lot of young doctors.
Yeah, Leontovich is young, who's cardiac. There's also a Chinese doctor that's a pulmonologist.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sorry for butting in, but
Go ahead.
so I went by. I figured I'd give you a second to take a drink. So I did go to clinicaltrials.gov, guys. You can't put in sarcoidosis. You can only put in sarcoid. And when you type USA, there's 28 studies, and you can see that some of them are like recruiting worldwide. So this one's in Iowa, but there's many that are looking for patients. So once you have the diagnosis, go on, and it doesn't look like, at least the top two, doesn't want even any drugs. So, just a thought to look at, and you can always reach out to myself or Frank. Oh, thank you, Regina. Regina, I don't know if you're getting the texts under the chat, but there's like a little chat window on top. So they've put in some things there, so you can look at that. It is important. So I'll be quiet now.
It definitely is.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah. But I just think that, there's a lot for anybody. Anybody can do it. It's just a matter of how much time you have and how much you want to give it. For me, I don't have a job anymore. I'm on disability. I can't do it. So this, I consider this my job at this point. Sometimes I get yelled at by Kathleen.
Yeah, somebody like me, my insurance wouldn't even pay for it. You know, I work, but your
Yeah.
insurance, my insurance wouldn't pay for a clinical trial.
Yeah.
They
So, but
suck.
yeah, so yeah, this organization has become my job, but I've like, even with COVID going on, I've actually stepped back. Period. I just need to, take care of myself at times, and so I do that. I have to do that, and it's not, to me, it's not a 9 to 5 job. It's kind of like when I make time for it. So, yeah, but I think that's like Kathleen, right? Same thing. When we find time.
Well, when I was working full time, yes, I made as much time as I possibly could for Frank. Now that I'm no longer working full time, I was on disability till December. Looks like I will be on unemployment from March until my disability comes through, and then my disability from there. So now Frank has me almost full time. Go Frank!
Yeah, but now we can't do anything. So it's like.
Now, wait a minute, Kathy. Kathy, my nurse told me that it will take me 2 years to get disability because disability has to see that I've been sick with sarcoid for 2 years.
That is true, unless it's debilitating, and at that point, and Frank could probably tell me, but I think that as long as we're showing like severe disability, multi-organed and stuff like that, with COVID-19, I can't see how they're going to let us back into the real world. I'm really sorry about this, but I work for doctor's offices. I can't be around people with COVID-19 and things like that. So, or even the possibility.
And my employer won't, she doesn't want me back because my employer doesn't want me back anyway. So
as long as you can collect unemployment, and then I would suggest.
Yeah, I am collecting unemployment.
I would suggest possibly, and Frank, you can tell me right or wrong, but I would probably suggest looking into doing your disability papers now, and maybe it'll be approved a little bit easier. I don't know. If I don't get approved, I think it's 120 days they have to respond, Frank, so it's been 4 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. So push comes to shove, Frank knows a really good attorney from New York, so I will, if they deny me the first time round, I'm going that route.
Okay.
And just remember, Wendy, the one thing that when you sign on is the date that you start your payment. So even if it takes 2 years, you'll get that 2 years back payment. I mean, my first payment was like a $25,000 payment I got. I was like, woohoo! But yeah, so that's why I always tell people, if you're gonna fill out. If you sign out your papers, decide to do it as early as possible, because the day they receive them and stamp those papers is the day that you get all your back pay from. So even if you're collecting unemployment, you still will get your back pay from that time of when you do it, because I was actually the same thing. I was collecting unemployment. It did take me 2 times because when I first signed on, sarcoidosis wasn't even on the list. And it wasn't even on the disability list. Now it is. It's actually, it is on there. But even when I got approved, it still wasn't on the list. What my lawyer did is, because of all the effects of everything in my body, just went to the lawyer went to the doctors, got all my forms from every surgery I had. I've had 9 surgeries. Every doctor, every time I went to the doctor, they got everything. They went to the judge and dropped a book of all my work, and the judge is like, I don't want to see this. I don't have time to read this. And it was 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes, he signed my paper saying, you're on full-time permanent disability. I was like, okay, see you later.
Right.
But yeah. And the lawyers that I use, actually, you don't pay them anything up front. They'll take out a percentage of what you're gonna make from them, so you don't have to pay them up front for anything. It'll come right out of the disability payment. So that's a good thing about it. You didn't have it before, so you didn't see it when they take it out. So, but other than that, I think I'm pretty good with everything else. Anything else anybody have today?
Yes, Frank,
Yes, go ahead, Debbie.
I'm going to see a disability judge on the 24th of June
Okay.
for my sarcoidosis because my lawyer, I had a ongoing case from 9/11. So my lawyer feels that I should go for disability sarcoidosis. So I have it in my lungs.
Yes.
And my doctor's from NYU. And
Oh, great.
he wrote that I am disability. I can't work any longer. Because I've been seeing him since 9/11 happens.
Yes.
So I'm kind of afraid because my judge is from Texas, and she don't know anything about sarcoidosis. So I'm a little nervous about that.
No, actually, that goes in your favor.
Glad you brought up this point. I'm glad you brought up this point. I really am.
It actually works in your favor, because I can tell you right now, your lawyer is really gonna work the 9/11 aspect of it. Most people that were part of 9/11 didn't have to worry about going through the courts the second time. Just knowing, I know a lot of people from 9/11 in this area. So I think that's going to help you. And B, having your doctor who's with them about, they'll give them enough paperwork. The judges don't want to spend the time of reading a lot of paperwork. Like I said, my judge, looked at me and outright said, "I'm not going to read all this." And he's like, my attorney, she was like, "Oh," he goes, "I don't have time for this." And my attorney goes, "Well, do you think he has time to live through all this?" And that's how I got mine. It took 10 minutes. So did you have to go to their doctors too, or no?
I did, and I only saw the doctor for 1 second, and it denied me. I said, "But you didn't even check," and she didn't even check my lungs or anything. I said, "How can they deny me?" It didn't even look at my lung, no breathing test or anything.
I told you.
So my lawyer told me they was going to deny me the first time. He already told me they was going to deny me the first time. So I did I have a disability through the city, and I had to take a breathing test, and that's when they automatically gave me half a disability. So I would go for Social Security. I didn't even see a Social Security doctor for my breathing test. So how are you going to deny me if I didn't even take a breathing test? I couldn't understand.
The first time, if they can deny you, they will. I've heard, but like Patricia Brooks Hart, she got hers within 2 months. I mean, the first time. It's really weird. I don't know how she did it, but she did. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if you have a good lawyer and it's 9/11 related, you're not real the second time. You're really not gonna, because who wants to be that judge says that if the lawyer, what happens on the third time, the lawyer kind of gets a little bit more loud and it gets in the papers by accident. That judge doesn't want to have that publicity. So,
okay.
Yeah. So
you know what? I thank you so much for answering my question, because I go somewhere in Social Security, somewhere in Long Island.
Sarcoidosis, right?
I think that might be it. It's in something.
That's where I had to go to Sarcoidosis.
Oh, see, I'm not too familiar. I just moved to I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You can tell by my accent. So I'm still learning Long Island right now.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Is not too bad. Yeah. That's where they I know that's where they do the judges are in Sarcoidosis, so I'm gathering that's probably where you're gonna be. But yeah, the judges are in, it's not like a real court. It's actually you sit down in front of the judge, and it's just you, the judge, and the lawyer. There's nobody else in the room.
My daughter's from Texas. I'm doing a video
Yeah.
call for her. She's from Texas.
Oh, yeah. Now it's going to be video, of course. Everything's video.
Yes.
but I mean, it's not like it's not that big of a deal. They may ask you a couple of questions. Be honest. Tell them what sarcoidosis has done to you. That's and I would. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I would say there's a good likely that you'll get past, especially because of 9/11.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, just let me know, and I can tell you how I went through everything.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you taking your time out talking to me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. So anybody else have anything before we get out of here? Well, I hope, like Kathleen, I hope you feel better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope you do too.
And everybody be safe. There's a lot going on out there. And so stay indoors is the best thing to do at this point, if you can. But other than that, our next meeting is the 16th, is it?
I think so.
Hey.
Not even.
No, 18th.
18th, okay. Yeah, I'll be sending it out as usual, but the 18th is another one. And we're actually going to have a special guest for that one, too. Okay, Regina.
I just want you guys to know I found a study that everybody could do for clinical trials, and I'm getting ready to post it.
Okay. Yeah, and then like ours is basically like that survey that we're going to be doing is basically like a clinical trial also. So that's why I said, please join that answer that survey. That second one?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we post it again, please?
It's still on the chat. If you hit the round button.
Which round button?
The bubble up on top. You see the people figures, and then there's that one that looks like a clear bubble.
Okay, let me see. A clear bubble.
Oh,
okay.
It's the second one from the left.
Okay.
Sarcoidosis?
No, it is. It's a worldwide sarcoidosis research study, and you got to have sarcoidosis and an internet. It's a longitudinal study.
Yeah, it was posted at 8:27.
Is that Dr. Botman?
Yes.
I just came out. Wow. Yeah, last update posted. Okay, first posted June 4th, 2012. Wow. So this is an ongoing one.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Bachman. He's actually a really nice guy.
Yep. Yeah, he used to be at a lot of our training.
Well, yeah, he came to our training. He was in the conferences. I did a conference with him in Washington, D.C. So, other than that, Debbie, did you get the link?
No, I tried it. I couldn't get it.
All right, I'm gonna copy it.
Yeah, for some reason I got something different here.
Oh.
I know I got in here somewhere.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the help.
Bye, Dan.
Bye. Nice to meet you, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Debbie, are you in the Facebook group?
No, I better
National
join
Facebook
it.
Group?
No, but I'm your friend on Facebook.
Okay, let me find you here.
Good luck.
All right. What's your last name?
Washington Ray.
Okay.
I can't get it. I don't know why I can't get it either.
All right, Lindy, I'll put it in yours too. If I can get this search to actually work. It doesn't want to. There we go. Nope.
I mean, I see Regina's thing and I hit it and it's just telling about it. It's not.
Yeah, well, if you make sure you scroll down, It's
Yeah.
it's very long.
Mm-hmm.
It's very long. All right, Deb, so I'm going to send it to you via Facebook then.
Okay.
I'll message it to you. I'm doing it.
Okay.
Because I
Kathleen,
saved the
I hope
page.
you
So
feel better.
Thank you.
all right, and I will talk to everybody the 18th.
All right.
Everybody be safe, okay?
All right.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.